Carlton for the dream start.
Welcome to another episode. My name is Dean Vasic. You can find me on X at #Kangas, Instagram #Kangaroos podcast. Tonight is a solo show. Just me by myself tonight. This is very rare. I wasn't too sure when I was going to be able to record tonight till early in the day. I did put a message out to a couple of people, but unfortunately unavailability came into it. So I thought I've still got to do a preview show. So the game's coming up on Sunday against the Giants this weekend in Canberra, our old stomping ground, Manuka Oval. We had reasonable success at Manuka Oval going back a number of years. So looking for, you never know. I'm a bit optimistic this week. I don't know. Something's come over me over the last couple of days. I'm actually feeling a bit optimistic that we might be able to get a boil over against the Giants this week. So look out for that. We'll go to a little bit of the latest news. Now, in the last couple of days, it has been reported that we have reached out to Jack Silvagni and asked the question about his availability, and even Brandon Starcevich from the Brisbane Lions, who I'm probably more bullish on than Jack Silvagni, only because we've got a number of key position defenders as it is. I don't want to get these short-term solutions like a Jake Lever. Look, I don't mind Jack Silvagni. He's had a very good year in defence, and looks like that's going to be his long-term position going forward. I think the horse has already bolted on that one, unless we're going to pay significant overs with money. If we're just going to offer 650, 700,000 like Collingwood and Carlton have, then we probably, we're not going to be in the frame. I think Collingwood's leading that race, but unless we're going to put in an extra 200,000 where he really has to consider it, which I don't really want to do. He's not that worth that sort of money. Then you'd have to think that he's going to go to a club that's closer to a premiership window and not one that has struggled in the last 6 years now. So that hasn't won more than 4 or 5 games in a season. A lot of people have come in and sort of said, well, he doesn't really like the club. I don't agree with that. I know he had that incident with Jason Francis in his one and only year at the club. But other than that, he said to Jason Francis, you're shit, or use a shit or something like that. So, which was true anyway. But that was more directed at the Hornet and the situation that was occurring in the game. And you often hear a lot of words spoken on the ground that, don't always, you can't take it personally at the end of the day. There's incidents that happen and so forth, and you just you get on with it. So there's no issue with that. I'm not worried about that. Whether he loves or hates the club, it's more the issue that I think he'd rather go to a Collingwood. It seems like they're putting the work earlier. He did meet with Brad Scott by the sounds of it over the last few days, but at the end of the day, there's no difference between going from Essendon to North. They've got a number of key position defenders who are all injured at the moment, but you can't guarantee or promise that they're all going to be injured again next year. So that's a bit of a strange move by Brad Scott. But he has his moments, as we all know. Brandon Starcevich, this one looks like he will probably stay at Brisbane. At the end of the day, most players do end up staying. Possession is 9/10 of the law. So I think he does stay on a shorter-term deal. I'm a bit surprised they haven't re-signed him just as of yet, but they are going after Sam Draper, who apparently is pretty close to coming to Brisbane, and Oscar Allen. So it's more just a case of money, and maybe he feels a little bit left out. A player that's had a few concussion issues as well has played the last few weeks, which is good to see, and he's a very good lockdown defender. He'd be perfect. Just a reliable defender that can play on smalls. Usually makes a good decision with the football. And, only 26 years old, you'd have to think his best years are in front of him over the next 3 or 4 years. So he's someone, that I'll definitely be keen on. But once again, do you go from Brisbane back to Melbourne in a struggling club, or do you stay at Brisbane and play in potential premierships? And that's where I'm leaning. I think, if there's not going to be too much difference with the money, and I don't want to overpay for players like this at the end of the day. We've still got to focus on building our brand and our system. I think that's the main issue. I did mention the other day that we are, what do we rank last from moving the ball from back 50 to forward 50, and rank last from scores created from defensive 50. And that's how football is. A lot of teams put a lot of emphasis on those small pressuring forwards, and generally those teams, if they do have that, a pretty good team. So that's something we've got to focus on, more the system. Well, I think we've got the talent back there. McKercher is a running a line breaker, and he's certainly someone that can help with that. So it's more just the way we play, and rather than focusing on personnel. And we've got to worry about fixing our own backyard and the way we play more than anything. So. But if he's still out of contract by the end of the season, then you certainly we'll certainly have questions. So that's a couple of players. We've obviously heard of Jake Lever. I'm certainly not into him, a 30-year-old that's going backwards in his career. I know Melbourne got to get a new coach, and they're probably going to focus a little bit on trying to get a bit of youth in, especially first-year coaches. They're going to try and get a little bit of youth in. As far as I know, Christian Petrarca's got one foot out the door. And players like Jake Lever are probably a little bit surplus to requirements in and out of the team. So on a lot of money, still on contract for 3 more years, under contract for 3 more years. So that's one I really don't want to go after. Well, let's move forward, and I want to talk about former North players that have played at GWS before, and we've only had a couple. Paul Ahern is probably one name that rings true to North fans. A player that we remember had that big game against West Coast in 2018 at Ninja Stadium in an impressive, I think it was a 41-point win. He had 37 touches, 12 clearances, a great goal assist from the boundary line where he just, with one hand, thought quick and did a sideways kick that went about 20 metres. A player that was plagued by injuries at GWS. It was a first-round pick. I think he was a pick 10 or 11 from memory, but had 2 ACL injuries before he was 21, I think, at the GWS Giants. And usually, first one, players can recover and still have a good career after 1 ACL injury. After 2, it's very hard to come back from. And he did pretty well there. He had a perchable patch for 4 or 5 weeks, counting that West Coast game in 2018, where he was getting 20-plus possessions a game, getting a few clearances. He looked like he was going to be a real player, a real bargain, because we got him for, I think it was pick 68 or something in that draft, which was nothing really. Unfortunately, fell away pretty quickly and was delisted part of that big cull in 2020. Another player was Aidan Bonner. Came to us for a late pick. I think he was a top 10 draft pick as well. Couldn't really break into the GWS Giants team. Was seen as a midfielder. We pushed him into defence. Most notably known for when we had a number of injuries. I think it was Clarkson's first season. And we put him on Harry McCoy and Charlie Curnow, who tore us a new one. We had Callum Dawson sitting in reserves. And a lot of people were questioning the move of playing Aidan Bonner on those types on that type of play. It was about 191 centimetres. Could move okay. Skills were okay. Look, there was always play. Look, he was probably about the 24th, 25th player picked every week. If he had a couple of injuries, he could come in and do a job. But, played 28 games and was delisted in 2023. I think he still plays at Williamstown now. There was talk last year, halfway through the season, he was going to get picked up in the mid-season draft, but that never eventuated. So not 100% sure if he's still at Willie this year. But, those are the 2 players that we got from GWS Giants. We've had a couple go the other way. One I can think of is Braden Pruce, but he crossed from Melbourne and Melbourne to GWS. So, last time we met GWS Giants was round 1, a long time ago, 2024. Lost by 39 points. It effectively ended the North Ball era. That didn't last too long. I think we were hyped up after the pre-season and go, geez, look at us move the ball with purpose. We're taking a game on. And, it was pretty much effectively dead after that round 1 loss. Harry Sheasel, 32 disposals, 756 metres gained, probably our best for the day. LDU, 29 touches, 8 clearances. Unfortunately, Josh Goda did his Achilles that day. I think it was last quarter, just trying to take off. And unfortunately, just did his Achilles and hasn't been back since. Has had a lot of soft tissue injuries coming back this year as well. Now, last time we did beat the Giants was round 2, 2020. We won by 20 points. There's a big gap. I don't know if you remember this, listeners, from round 1 to round 2. There was a 3-month gap because of COVID. I remember the first round was against St Kilda where we won. I think I might have talked about that last week because that was the last time we might have beaten St Kilda. And then, there was no crowd in that game, and then there was a 3-month gap, and came back, beat the Giants, and I think we've won 19 games since then. So it's been a slippery slope of a downfall since that round 2 game. We only won one more game for that season. It was a shortened season. I think it was only 17 rounds in an unusual year. Higgins, Simpkin, Polak, Dumont were all up there in the 20s for possessions, 22 to 25. Goldstein, 53 hitouts that day going against Sam Jacobs. I can't even remember Sam Jacobs being at GWS that year, obviously at the twilight of his career. A couple of players to mention. Aidan Core was playing for the Giants that day. So there's one for you. Sorry, listeners. Kyron Hayden, Josh Walker, Taron Thomas, Curtis Taylor. Just some names that played in that game. Taron Thomas, unfortunately. He had 6 touches, but kicked 2 goals that game. I can't remember too much about the game, to be honest with you. I'll probably have to go back and look at the highlights and find out. But, it all kind of fell apart after that. So injuries going into this week. Zach Bench was a test earlier this week, but unfortunately he misses out. As far as I know, they are bruised ribs. Bruised ribs can be a 2 or 3 week injury. A bit of doubt if he'll come back before the end of the year. But I really like the look of him. He does look good. He's a good little kid. He tries his heart out. A little bit of Nick Watson in him. Not the attitude, obviously, but he tries to be proactive with his approach and move the game on as soon as he gets it quite quickly. Goes to first instinct. That's the most important thing a footballer can do. I don't see that with Caleb Daniel too much, to be honest with you. He runs around in circles and then panics. But Zach Bench is quite good with his first instinct and a courageous mark. I think that's where he injured his ribs. So, I'm very bullish on him and definitely deserves another year next year. So, not a bad pickup in the mid-season draft. You don't get too much, but he actually looks okay. Aidan Core, another week away. I don't think they're going to rush him back. CCJ, the same, another week away. Not going to rush him back. Josh Goda, 2 to 3 weeks away. You might as well just, wrap him up in cotton wool. That'll be it for his season. The reserves are done as well, or effectively almost done. Nick Larkey was a test earlier this week. He misses out this week. I'm not too sure what's going on. One minute they said he's out for the season, and the next hour, he comes out and said, I'm going to try and get up for this week. So hopefully they don't do anything stupid and try and get him back too quickly. And getting back for the last 2 rounds, it sort of seems pointless now. I'm going to talk about team changes soon, and I'd rather give this guy a go for the next couple of weeks and just let Nick Larkey rest. At the end of the day, I want to see some guys get that opportunity that have put in the work in the VFL and deserve that opportunity in the last 2 or 3 weeks. We want to see if they're going to be there next year. So, and Nick Larkey, we know he's going to be there next year. It's about experimentation. If players have got niggles, why put that risk out there? Just let them rest. Charlie Comben is another player. I don't know. Am I just going to watch Charlie Comben look like he's been shot every time he plays a game of AFL football? I've never seen a guy in so much pain playing a game of football pretty much weekly with Charlie Comben. I really worry about his future and his body holding up. He looks in so much pain every time there's a contest, and it's not just, lower body, it's upper body, it's everything. I don't know. He needs to do something about that. I hate watching him at the moment. So, I like watching him as a player, but I just hate seeing his face every time he plays. Archer Bergman, Luke McDonald, Darcy Tucker, all out for the season. And unfortunately, I talked about this the other day with Jesse, Braden George out for the season as well. Unfortunately, with another shoulder reconstruction, that puts serious doubt on his future. Unfortunately, to be honest, I'm pretty much almost there that we're just not going to see the best of him. I know there's a lot of hype about him and he can't give up, but the injuries play such a mental game for you as well. You can't be the same player now mentally going in for a contest knowing that you've had uh, injuries to major injuries. These aren't like you just get over injury and that's it. These are painful injuries. Shoulders are one of the worst injuries you can get, and eventually it's just going to be a breaking point. There's breaking points with players where they say, "Look, that's it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore." And I fear for him. Look, he'll have another crack next season. He's going to miss out on another pre-season, which is going to hurt. So he's going to start behind the 8 ball. And I wouldn't, another injury, another major injury, and that's it. Like you can't keep putting yourself through all that. And yeah, look, it'll be heartbreaking for the kid because there is a lot of talent there. We've seen a little glimpses of it, even this year. That we see all the hype with him. But think, geez, this guy's got something special about him. He's taken some one-handed grabs. He's kicked some freakish snaps. And I can see that comparison with Jordan De Goey. Yeah, I certainly can. When Jordan De Goey was at his peak, playing inside that forward 50. So, yeah, but unfortunately, he is out for the season. So we'll go to team changes now. Now, I will bring up that page. I've got it all ready. Have I got it all ready? Yes, I do. So into the team come Tristan Sherry, come back from his 3-week suspension. Bailey Scott comes back in. Geordie Payne. I want to see Geordie Payne. I've been calling for it all year. I know that he's one of my favourites, but just give him a chance, Jesus, before you put a line through his career. Will Phillips comes back in. Finbar Malley and Cooper Trembuff, who's had very good form in the reserves. So, and this is the thing. I want to see these players get the opportunity, that deserve that opportunity. They put in a good work in the reserves. I know Alistair Clarkson was asked about it. Now, this is a great question by the reporter. I don't know who the reporter was, but he even said, he goes, you're going to try something different, give these players that are out of contract. I'm paraphrasing here, like a Geordie Payne, an opportunity the last 3 weeks ago. And Clarkson was very dismissive of it. And I was a little bit disappointed in that. I don't want to look. We've got Finbar, who's out of contract at the end of the year. Cooper Trembuff's out of contract at the end of the year. Will Phillips, Geordie Payne. They're 4 players, I should say, that are on the interchange bench that are out of contract. Bryn Teakle is out of contract. He's on the interchange bench. It's going to be interesting to see if they play him. Cooper Harvey as well. And like players like Bailey Scott, Will Phillips is going to be there next year. That's almost 100% certain. There's no point playing him. Give other players an opportunity that are going to be there next year. So it's interesting. Obviously, coming out of the team, we go Paul Curtis gets the 1-week suspension. Nick Larkey and Zach Banch couldn't get themselves up. Out of the team for GWS, and this is interesting, Jesse Hogan managed. So I'll use that, try and do something, say that they're not taking this game seriously. Try and rev them up. I know that the rest of the players are playing, and you've got Jake Riccardi, Aaron Cadman, Jake Stringer, Toby Green. It's still a fairly pretty good forward line. They've got Callum Brown kicks goals as well. A player that hasn't been getting a game, that Max Grzuski, or however you say it, he's been doing pretty well in the VFL. So I don't know if he gets an opportunity with Hogan coming out, but it's still a pretty potent forward line, but they are resting someone. I just want to see what we did last week. Play with a bit more attitude. Like we weren't stupid. We didn't, try and rough them up or anything like that. Go outside our comfort zone or anything like that. We just played within ourselves, and that's something I want to see. Is that just playing with a bit more purpose and not so much, and a bit more flair as well. I'd like to see us take the game on a little bit more as well. It's the second and third quarter, and I talked about the defensive 50 that we really struggle to get that ball out. So we're going to try and, I mean, there's always a time where you have to, go long down the line. I'm not going to deny that. There's certain periods, but, just taking on those 45 kicks a little bit quicker. I know, we did that a few times and it came off in the first quarter. We probably should have been about 4 goals in front at quarter time. The second, third quarter, we kind of went away from it too much, and then we did it again in the last quarter. So it's interesting that psyche of players and them going into their shells and getting dictated by the opposition rather than dictating it ourselves. So I don't mind the changes. I want to see Geordie Payne. I want to see Cooper Harvey. I want to see Cooper Trenbath. I want to see him as a forward. We probably need to play another talk. I don't know. Brent Teakle, can he do it? He can take the odd mark. But Cooper Trenbath, and this is an interesting stat. Now, Thinker at Thoughtful One put this up on X. Now, last 3 weeks playing as a key forward in North Melbourne Reserves, 18 marks, 10 contested. What's that? 6 marks per game and 3.33 contested marks per game. 6 goals, 6, 12 scoring involvements. So he's getting himself involved. 37 disposals, playing as a key forward is not bad. That's over 12 a game, and possessions over half, 51%. Give him a chance. I don't mind him getting an opportunity ahead of Whitlock, I really like the way Whitlock's playing as a forward. But I certainly want to see him, given that opportunity this week. I know they probably only debut one. Ralphie did say that Geordie Payne earlier this week will debut this week, but the club haven't announced anything. I haven't seen anything on X, so whether they do it tomorrow, I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. But being on an interchange bench, I'd be disappointed in you, Ralphie, if you are listening. I doubt you are. I'd be disappointed in you, Ralphie, if you did say he's debuting and he doesn't debut. And don't play him as a sub. Robert Hansen. What's the point? We know who Robert Hansen is. So I mean, I don't mind Finbar Malley getting an opportunity as well. Important development game for him. Bailey Scott, he has a bit of run, a bit of outside run. I'm surprised they haven't tried him in the back 6 or back 7 once again. I mean, they couldn't stop playing him first half of last year, and we kept saying, as a supporter group, push him up the ground, put him to the wing. That's where his best position is. We kept playing him in the back 7. So I'm surprised they haven't tried it again. He does show a bit. He does. He's got that capability of breaking a line. I really like Riley Hardiman, Colin McKercher, Bailey Scott in that back 7. Yeah, I don't mind it. It's a bit undersized, obviously, with Caleb Daniel there. That probably Caleb Daniel, Colin McKercher, they don't really defend, so it makes it hard. Putting Bailey Scott there's another undersized defender, so I can understand it. But I mean, you can only try. And I still, they've got a lot of small forwards. They've got the Harvey Thomases, Toby Bedford, Toby Greens, Darcy Jones. So they've got a lot of small forwards. You could probably get away with playing 3 of your smallish defenders back there. And, you could always push Zane Dersma, who's been playing in the back line. You could always push him in the forward arc if you needed to. So we'll wait and see. I'd be disappointed if at least one of Geordie Payne or Cooper Trenbath didn't debut this week. So, and I really like Cooper Harvey. I've really been impressed with him when he's coming to the senior team. I know a lot of people are calling for him to get dropped after last week, but he's a top player. I wouldn't mind trialling on the wing. He's very proactive when he gets the football. Similar to Zach Manch, they try and make things happen, take that first option, and their skills are very, very good as well. So I don't mind Cooper Harvey playing trialling on the wing. I know Braden George was trialling on the wing in the reserves, and he looked pretty good. Unfortunately, he did his shoulder at training last week. So, but I'm going to go for it now. This is what I usually ask my guests, I should say. Sorry, I just choked on my words there. A potential match winner for this week. So, of course, I'm going to say, Geordie Payne on debut. He's definitely a potential match winner. No, I'm not going to say him. I can't. That's too biased. No, that's going far too over the top. I'm going to go Tristan Sherry. this is a good opportunity to give our midfield first use. The midfield hasn't been the same since he's come out of the team. Well, the midfield was quite good last week. We had Sheasel, we had LDU. Warlock. I didn't really like that combination of Sheasel and LDU earlier in the year, but it seems to be coming together a little bit now, a little bit better now. I know this is just, they've just put names on the sheet, but they've got Luke Parker in the forward pocket. Actually don't mind that move if we can do that. Jacob Costanti, well, we've got to play him. He hasn't kicked the goal for 5 weeks and he keeps getting a game every week. So, that's strange. Tom Powell playing as a high half forward looked really good last week. Only 6 CBAs. Luke Parker 10 CBAs last week. So if those two can get less than half, and you can build the midfield around LDU, Sheasel, Wardlaw, and we've got a few others. Finn O'Sullivan I'd really like to see go in there. Colin McKercher for 2 or 3 CBAs would be nice. So, and then you can throw in Powell, Parker for a few as well. So there is a lot of depth there, but that's all we've drafted in the last 5 years. So there should be depth there. We don't really need to play Will Phillips. So potential match winner anyway. When I say Tristan Sherry, he's the one for me. Now I'll go to final margin. I think I'm going to go for a win. And I know you're probably thinking, Dean, what drugs are you on? I'm not too sure what I'm on lately. So I've been taking a few painkillers. I've been practicing for a marathon, which I'll talk about in a minute. So taking a little bit of Nurofen to deal with a little bit of pain that's coming because you generally running long distances. I know last Sunday, sorry to talk about me. I know you don't want to hear that, but I think I ran 34 kilometres and couldn't move afterwards. I don't know what happened with my body, but I had to take full Nurofen after that. So, that's maybe why I'm going for a win this week. So, I'm going to go for a 3-point win, a thriller. Geordie Payne to kick the winning goal. On debut, Cooper Trimbath to take 8 marks, kick 2 goals as well. Jack Darling to provide a good option for him. And Tristan Sherry to dominate in the ruck. So I'm going to go for a 3-point win, a boil over. GWS, a little bit wobbly, especially after last week. The confidence is a bit shot. Now, they're probably looking to get a good win because they want to get a good percentage boost. So they're there for the taking. We'll see what happens, though. And at Manuka Oval, we've got a good history there. So we'll have to wait and see. So AFLW is starting next week. I should be getting in a couple AFLW players, which I'm really excited about. Players that I've had before on next Tuesday, I believe it is. So really looking forward to that season. I'll be getting in contact with Claire and Jacinta. I'm going to certainly look to get them on Thursdays regularly. For the last couple of weeks, I'll probably get them on and another guest, and we'll probably preview the men's team coming up against Richmond, and we've got Adelaide Crow. So I'll still do the men's on Thursdays a little bit, just mix it up, and then AFLW will do a little bit of a preview there, and then go from there, I guess. So, really looking forward to the AFLW season, see if the girls can go back-to-back. Very interesting challenges this year. So I know, what's her name, Kate McCarthy's already talking about the Hawks. Absolutely, like they do, the media, the All-Australian Hawks. So I can't wait to put them back in their place. But a tough draw for the AFLW girls early, first 5 rounds. I think we've got Geelong away in round 1. We don't even get to unfurl our flag in front of our home supporters. And I believe we've got Brisbane and Adelaide in the first 5 rounds. So they're going to be really good challenges. Probably the other 3 teams are going to be real challenges by the end of the year, I would have to think. So it's going to be interesting. So really looking forward to the AFLW season coming up next week. So like I said, I'll be getting Claire and Jacinta. I'll talking to them, try and get them on as regulars every week. I haven't told them yet. So if they are listening, be ready to get a message. And I haven't spoken to Claire in a long time. I do miss her. So she is a pleasure to chat with, and Jacinta as well. I think I've only met Claire once. I haven't met Jacinta yet. So, but I built a good friendship with them, and really looking forward to chatting AFLW with those lovely ladies. Like I said before I finish, I am doing a marathon, the Sydney Marathon, at the end of the month. My first marathon, I've done half marathons before, but this is my first full one. So I'm doing it for the Australian Cancer Research Foundation. I'm trying to raise money for them. I've raised a fair bit of money already. I'll be putting out a link and on not Spotify, Instagram. So you can donate that way. I don't ask for much, like a few dollars here and there. I know I've already had a couple listeners donate. Steve Briffer has already donated, who does the In Clarko We Trust podcast. A really good guy. I've had him on here a couple of times. Jane as well. She's donated as well, which I really appreciate. And I'm going to try and get look. At the moment, I've got $550, so I'll try and get to about 1,000 by the end of the month when I do the marathon. So, and the training's going okay. If anyone really is interested in that, so that's it about that, and that's it pretty much for the podcast. Just a short one tonight, a solo one. I don't know how Jason Hunt does this regularly by himself. He does a fantastic job. Doesn't stutter. I've got no idea what I'm talking about half of the time. I just go around in circles. He's just smooth. He does it really well. So full credit to him for doing that. I've got a lot of respect for Jason. I always have, but even more so now. So, full credit to him. I know Josh has done a few by himself as well. In the Further North podcast, Bailey might have done the odd one. I can't remember, but full credit to those boys. They do it a lot better than I do. And, this is a lot harder than it looks, trying to talk to yourself, almost talking to yourself in the mirror. But like I said, I'll be back early next week. I'll review the performance of the men's team on Monday, hopefully, and then do an AFLW chat with a couple of players there on Tuesday, and then do a mixture of both, previewing our game for the AFLW next Thursday and previewing the men's game against Richmond next Thursday as well. So it's going to be a mixture of everything. So hopefully you listeners enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed this podcast as well. Don't forget, like, subscribe. I know I've got to be more active on socials. I'm going to try and be more active over the next month or so. Really put some work into it. I pretty much don't go on Instagram. I'm a bit slow on getting back to messages. Even X, I've kind of gone a little bit off X, to be honest with you listeners. It's like every time I open a page, it's about talking about politics and things that aren't relevant. I have to scroll and look at a few different things before I see something about AFL or AFLW or something like that. So it's really lost its flavour. Nothing against Elon Musk. He bought it. But he can do whatever he wants with it. Is a very successful person. But it's almost a lot of people have gone off it. I know Mark Hello has gone off it. He's deleted the app. Frank was on it there for a period. He's gone off it. So it can be a very negative space as well. I know a lot of these listeners aren't that negative, but it can just be filled with negative information, which isn't great for the brain, to be honest with you. It puts you in a negative cycle. And, too much political talk as well. But if that's your thing, go for it. So I'll try and be more active on Instagram. I'm not a big social media person, so I don't know what I'm doing half the time. But I'll definitely try and put more stuff on. Anyways, like, subscribe, leave a comment, do all that fun stuff to help out the show. I really appreciate it. Spread the word of mouth. That's it from me. So bye for now, and go Roos.